This past Direct, the Pokemon Company announced the DLC to Pokemon Legends ZA Mega Dimensions. This showed off Mega Raichu X and Y alongside the reveal that Hoopa will play a major part in this DLC. According to the website, this is going to take place in Hyperspace Lumiose, which seems like it's going to be some sort of alternate parallel dimension to Lumiose. Aside from that, we know next to nothing about the DLC. This came as a shock to almost everyone, considering the game isn't even out. Many people were quick to call this a bad and greedy move. You look at the comments under the announcement video and it's full of people mocking Game Freak and the Pokemon Company for even daring to announce a DLC to a game that's still a month away from releasing. This has sparked discussion about how many people believe many modern Pokemon games are incomplete and having the post-game sold as DLC. Now, I have two theories as to why Pokemon announced this DLC so early, neither of which will really disprove the people upset about the DLC. My first theory is more grounded on what we know. Based on an interview with the director of Pokemon Legends ZA, Haruka Tochigi, the game was in its final tuning phase at the beginning of 2025. This means that the game was likely in an almost complete state at the beginning of the year and was likely in its polishing phase during this last year of development. This likely gave the separate team that works on the DLC far more time than expected, letting them announce the DLC whenever they wanted to, and they likely don't want to clash with the hype cycle of next February's Pokemon Presents, since Gen 10 is likely going to be announced there. My second theory is the one I believe in personally, and it's that there's likely going to be merch of Mega Raichu X and Y very soon. As proof, let's see how Mega Dragonite has been treated. Mega Dragonite was revealed on July 22nd in the Pokemon Presents that day. Less than a month later, during the announcements at the Pokemon World Championships on August 17th, new TCG cards were shown, with Mega Dragonite being a prominent face on it. While we haven't seen the same treatment to Mega Victreebel and Mega Malamar, I fully expect Mega Raichu to bring back that trend in full force, considering it's a much more popular Pokemon. Give it a month or two, Mega Raichu is going to be in a TCG pack soon. Alongside the controversial DLC announcement is the discussion on the game's price. The base game is $60. If you want the ideal experience with better frame rate and a higher resolution, and have a Switch 2, it costs $10 to upgrade to the Switch 2 version. With the DLC, the game costs an extra $30. This means the whole game is $90 for Switch 1 users or $100 for Switch 2 users. People are valid for being upset about this. However, I still have the belief that Pokemon will go on an uphill trajectory when it comes to the quality of the games. Now, this can always age poorly and ZA comes out as a disaster, but my hopes are pretty high that it's going to be a very high quality game even without the DLC. I love Pokemon Legends Arceus. When it was first announced, it was always apparent that this was going to be a massive shakeup for the story with more of an emphasis on the world and the environments Pokemon live in. There were so many little ways that the game did this, but my personal favorite way was how the game has the player character be treated by an outsider at the very start to having them assert themselves in this world as somebody opening up the bonds between people and Pokemon. What I think this game did the best though was take a risk to move the series forward. Just to list a few, there's making you, the player, have a finite health bar, forcing you to be more careful when roaming the wilderness, streamlining the catching process by letting you throw a ball at a Pokemon without battling and rewarding being stealthy. I know Let's Go did this, but Arceus' way is 1,000 times better. Giving the player more movement rather than just walking and biking, making all the Pokemon available in a single game cartridge, moving away from the gym formula of the series. Legends Arceus prided itself of being a different Pokemon game, and it was a wonderful game because of that. The main thing that was a bummer about it was that the new Pokemon weren't able to be used until a year later when home support was added to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. This essentially meant that if you wanted to use the new Pokemon against other players, Showdown was kind of your only option. I feel like this awkward setback was something holding back the series a lot. Every single game had to maintain the same battle system or else the whole appeal of trading and battling with others gets thrown out the window. But now with Pokemon Champions on the horizon, this is a non-issue. There will likely still be a couple month-long gap between when you can use the new Mega Pokemon against other players, but with the new PvP modes that were shown off, that should be able to hold off most players. This means the main games are able to take more risk with the main formula in the games without worrying about turning away the people who adore the core gameplay of the series, since Champions will always be right there. And I think this is most clear with Legends ZA. Legends ZA, just like Legends Arceus, is taking as many, if not more risks than before. Arceus at least stuck to a turn-based format. ZA is going to have a more real-time and dynamic approach to battles. You can actually get your Pokemon to avoid moves, and there's a visible delay on when your Pokemon will do the moves you tell them to do. I adore this. This makes the battle battles feel so much more alive and improves immersion tenfold. I'm very much an RPG guy. My favorite games of all time tend to be turn-based RPGs, but mixing up the regular turn-based combat that Pokemon has stuck with gives me such a sense of glee. It shows they're willing to give other types of gameplay a shot without abandoning what makes the series so appealing in the first place. There's also the fact that the whole game takes place entirely in Lumio City. I know this was a massive turnoff to lots of people, but the big city aesthetic is something Pokemon hasn't done to this extent yet. They briefly tried this with Lumios back in X and Y, but that felt more like a test compared to what they're doing now. Alongside some extra shots in one of the trailers showing some catacombs, I think it's safe to assume that we'll still see quite a variety in the environment. I absolutely adore that this game is willing to try out many new things, and I hope this pattern continues into future games. Going with the interview from earlier, it seems like Legend ZA was supposed to release last year, with the DLC likely appearing just now. I think the fact that they took an extra year in order to polish the game is a really good sign of things to come, and that they're willing to break from the previous patterns like the 3 years per generation cycle. I hope this sets a precedent for things to come, since I think we can survive a year without a main game release. I've seen both ends of the spectrum when it comes to discourse about this series. I've seen people hate everything about this franchise with a passion, and I've seen people defend every choice that this company has made. The issues with this franchise isn't very black and white, which is ironic because there was a whole game that showed this off. Despite all the praises I just gave, I'm very cautious about how I feel about this franchise. I praised how I'm glad Legend ZA was given an extra year in the oven to cook, but I'm wary of many things like the price, the home functionality lock, and the possible frame rate issues on the Switch 1. That last aspect I am especially worried about since I, alongside many others, don't have a Switch 2. There's a chance this video ages really poorly if Legend ZA flops critically, but I'm optimistic that it'll turn out as a really good game. But hey, that's what we'll find out in a month. Thanks for watching. I know I don't have many videos yet, but I'm planning to use this channel as a way to yap about my interests such as game design or analyzing my favorite media, so feel free to subscribe.